What if I told you there's a new AI that rivals OpenAI's latest model in reasoning, is completely open source, and is 96% cheaper? We're talking OpenAI O1 level reasoning, but free. Let's dive into DeepSeek R1. Today, we're talking about something truly groundbreaking in the world of AI. DeepSeek R1. Now, you've probably heard of OpenAI and specifically their model known as O1, which is setting the standard for reasoning and intelligence. But what if there was a challenger that could go toe-to-toe with O1, and it's not from OpenAI, Google, or any of the usual suspects? DeepSeek R1 is a new open-source large language model that's sending shockwaves through the AI community. It's powerful, it's accessible, and it's significantly cheaper than OpenAI. In this video, we'll break down exactly what DeepSeek R1 is, how it compares to O1, and why it's such a big deal. So, what exactly is DeepSeek R1? In short, it's a large language model developed by a Chinese AI lab called DeepSeek. This isn't just another incremental improvement. R1 is built on a mixture of experts architecture and boasts a whopping 67.1 billion parameters. It is a 67.1 billion parameter MOE model with 21 billion active parameters. Now, what does all that mean? It's complex, but think of it like this. It's like having a team of specialized experts, each a master in their own domain, working together to solve problems. This is very similar to the way human experts work together to solve problems. This architecture allows it to handle complex tasks with impressive accuracy. But here's the kicker. DeepSeek is completely open sourced under the MIT license. This means anyone, anywhere can access, use, modify, and even distribute this model for free. Let's talk about the key capabilities. This thing is a powerhouse when it comes to reasoning and coding. First up, reasoning. DeepSeek R1 has shown remarkable abilities in tasks that require logical deduction and problem solving. It can analyze information, identify patterns, and arrive at conclusions in a way that's surprisingly similar to how humans think. It's a thinking model. For example, in tests like the marble in a cup problem, R1 correctly figured out where the marble would be after a series of moves. It's not just guessing, it's actually understanding the underlying principles. And that brings us to one of R1's most unique features, its ability to think out loud. It essentially verbalizes its thought process as it works through a problem, giving us a glimpse into its internal monologue. OpenAI hides this thinking process information from the user. Now, onto coding. DeepSeek R1 isn't just able to generate code, it understands it. It can write code in multiple languages, including Python and even x86 assembly. And it does so while adhering to best practices like error handling and style guidelines. In tests, it has successfully generated code for basic games like Snake and Tetris. It even wrote a Hello World program in assembly language, all on the first try. This isn't just about spitting out lines of code, it's about understanding the logic and structure of programming. Let's take a closer look at this thinking out loud feature. It's unlike anything we've seen in other language models. When you give R1 a problem, it doesn't just give you an answer, it walks you through its entire thought process, step by step. For instance, when asked how many R's are in the word strawberry, R1 literally spells out the word, counts the R's, and even corrects itself when it initially makes a mistake. In another example, when asked to pick a random number between 1 and 100, R1 goes through this fascinating internal debate about how to make the number truly random, considering factors like avoiding common guesses and choosing a prime number. This isn't just a cool gimmick, it has real implications for how we interact with and understand AI. We can use this feature to debug the model, to understand why it made a certain decision, and even to improve our own prompting strategies. So how does DeepSeek R1 achieve this level of reasoning and efficiency? A big part of the answer lies in its mixture of experts architecture. Imagine a team of doctors, each a specialist in their own field: cardiology, neurology, oncology, and so on. When a patient comes in with a complex set of symptoms, this team works together, pooling their expertise to arrive at a diagnosis. That's essentially what R1 does. It has multiple expert networks, each trained on different types of data and tasks. And then it has a gating mechanism that intelligently routes each input to the expert best suited to handle it. It has 21 billion active parameters of its 67.1 billion parameter model. This allows R1 to be incredibly powerful and efficient at the same time. And this architecture isn't just powerful, it's also incredibly efficient. By activating only the relevant expert networks for each task, R1 can achieve comparable results to much larger, monolithic models, while using significantly less resources. This efficiency is key to DeepSeek's ability to train and deploy such a powerful model at a fraction of the cost of its competitors. Now that we have explored the technical side, let's shift our focus to the company behind this innovation, DeepSeek. They're a Chinese AI lab that's been making waves in the industry with their rapid advancements, and importantly, their commitment to open source. They're known for their fast follower strategy, which means they're quickly developing and releasing open source equivalents to cutting-edge models from companies like OpenAI. But they're not just copying, they're actually innovating. Here's where things get really interesting. DeepSeek claims to have trained their V3 model, which is comparable to Claude Sonnet, for just $5 million. To put that in perspective, training models of this scale typically cost hundreds of millions of dollars. They also claim that R1 was created using far fewer GPUs and a much shorter training time than what OpenAI is likely using for O1. How did they do it? Well, the exact details are not entirely public. We know that their use of mixture of experts architecture, their innovative training method, group relative policy optimization, or GRPO, and potentially their access to specialized hardware through a backing by a quant trading firm all contribute to their efficiency. They also released the code they used to rewrite the transformers codebase. They use a technique called group relative policy optimization, or GRPO, that removes the need for a critic model and uses an average reward of multiple samples to improve model performance and reduce training costs. The training data was 2 trillion tokens, and they did not use any supervised fine training datasets. This may explain why the model did not perform as well on some of the benchmarks. And here's another fascinating detail. Dr. Jim Fan from NVIDIA pointed out that DeepSeek seems to have achieved this without relying on human feedback in their training loop. They built an RL flywheel that's consistently improving without human intervention. Essentially, it's the AI training itself to get smarter and better. Think about this for a second. This is the start of an even more rapid AI advancement. AI training itself in a race to AGI and ASI. This is a significant departure from traditional AI training methods that could lead to much faster and more scalable development. This ability to create state-of-the-art models with significantly fewer resources has major implications for the AI market. It means that smaller players like DeepSeek can now compete with giants like OpenAI, potentially disrupting the entire landscape. So, why is the open source nature of DeepSeek R1 such a game changer? Unlike models like O1, which are closed off and controlled by a single entity, R1 is freely available to anyone. This has massive implications. First, it democratizes access to cutting-edge AI. Developers, researchers, and even hobbyists can now experiment with a model that rivals the best in the world without needing a massive budget or special permissions. As a side note here, it rivals the best publicly available models. The frontier labs have models that are not public and are much better. These large companies will likely always keep their best models private for use by themselves, high-paying corporate customers, and governments. Second, it fosters collaboration and innovation. When a model is open source, the entire community can contribute to its improvement, leading to faster development and a wider range of applications. And for developers, this is a dream come true. Imagine having access to a model this powerful that you can download, fine-tune, and integrate into your own projects without any licensing fees or restrictions. Now, let's talk about the price tag. This is where things get really interesting. Using DeepSeek R1's API is significantly cheaper than using OpenAI's O1. We're talking about a 96% difference in cost for output tokens. Let me repeat that. Using DeepSeek R1 can be up to 96% cheaper than using O1. DeepSeek R1's API costs just $2.19 per million output tokens, compared to O1's $60 per million. And for input tokens, R1 is only 14 cents per million, while O1 charges $7.50. That's a massive difference. This makes R1 incredibly attractive for anyone looking to integrate powerful AI into their projects without breaking the bank. Now, you might be thinking, 67.1 billion parameters is huge. How can I possibly run this thing? And that's a valid concern, but DeepSeek has a solution for that too. Distilled models. Distillation is basically a way of taking a large, powerful model like R1 and training a smaller, more efficient model to mimic its behavior. It's like having a student learn from a master. And DeepSeek has released several distilled versions of R1, ranging from 1.5 billion all the way up to 32 billion parameters. These smaller models retain a surprising amount of R1's capabilities while being much easier to run on less powerful hardware. We'll dive deeper into distilled models in a later video, but it's important to know that they exist and that they make R1 even more accessible. Now, it's important to be upfront about DeepSeek R1's limitations. One notable issue is censorship. The model has been shown to refuse to answer certain questions, particularly those related to topics that are sensitive to the Chinese government. This is a significant drawback, and it's something to be aware of. Also, while R1 is powerful, it can be slower than the other models, especially when tackling very complex tasks. This is due to its focus on in-depth reasoning, which takes time. Another issue is data privacy while using the online version of DeepSeek. Some users will not be comfortable with submitting their data to a Chinese company inside of China. This can be solved by self-hosting though. Also, Hugging Face has started a project to fully replicate every aspect of DeepSeek and open source that. Exciting times for open source AI and for end users. What has been the industry reaction to DeepSeek R1? The release of DeepSeek R1 isn't just making waves, it's causing a tsunami of reactions across the AI industry. This isn't just another model, it's a completely open source, open weights model with all the training secrets revealed. Top researchers, developers, and industry leaders are taking notice, and the consensus is clear. DeepSeek R1 is a game changer. Let's summarize the key takeaways from industry's response. Open source is a game changer. The fact that R1 is completely open source with open weights and training details, it's huge. This is echoed throughout the community, with many praising DeepSeek for releasing everything. Dr. Jim Fan from NVIDIA called it truly open frontier research that empowers all. Performance comparable to O1 at a fraction of the cost. Experts are pointing out that R1's performance is on par with, or very close to OpenAI's O1 and Claude Sonnet, but at a fraction of the cost. This is a major disruption to the market. Distilled models are a big deal. The availability of smaller distilled versions of R1 that can run on laptops and even mobile devices is being hailed as a big leap. This makes powerful reasoning capabilities accessible to a much wider audience, especially for developers who can now integrate these models into their applications more easily. Rapid adoption and community excitement. Developers are already integrating R1 into their projects. Platforms like LM Arena have added it for human evaluation, and LM Studio is offering the distilled versions for local download. The community is buzzing with excitement to experiment with this model. China is a force in open source AI. DeepSeek's success is highlighting China's growing role in open source AI. The race to AGI is accelerating. We see this as a sign that the development of advanced AI is accelerating faster than ever before, thanks to the open source movement and the increased efficiency of models like R1. It's a challenge to other companies. Some are saying that if a company cannot beat an open source model, they shouldn't release their closed source model. And just to highlight the impact, here's a quote from the CEO of Perplexity that sums things up nicely. "It's kind of wild to see reasoning get commoditized this fast." And it's important to note that DeepSeek R1 is a Chinese model, and it will be censored. However, since it's open source with open weights, fine-tuners can potentially remove that censorship. Clearly, DeepSeek R1 has sent shockwaves through the AI community. It's not just a technological advancement, it's a statement about the power of open source, a challenge to the existing AI giants, and a sign that the future of AI is arriving faster than anyone expected. What are the implications for the race to AGI? This increased competition and focus on efficiency, spurred in part by DeepSeek, are likely to have a significant impact on the race to artificial general intelligence, or AGI. By creating a powerful model with fewer resources and making it open source, DeepSeek is potentially speeding up the timeline for achieving AGI. More efficient models mean faster experimentation, faster iteration, and faster progress. And with an open source approach, you have a global community of researchers and developers contributing to its progress. This could lead to breakthroughs that wouldn't have been possible in a closed, proprietary environment. Both the open source community and well-funded closed source frontier labs will speed up discoveries. While the exact timeline for AGI is still uncertain, DeepSeek's advancements suggest that we might be closer than we think. We'll stick to our prediction that AGI will be achieved by the end of 2025. The possibilities are vast. DeepSeek R1 represents a major leap forward for AI. It's a powerful, accessible, and affordable alternative to models like OpenAI's O1, and it has the potential to truly democratize access to cutting-edge AI. While it has its limitations, its strengths are undeniable. And perhaps most importantly, it demonstrates that you don't need unlimited resources to create state-of-the-art AI. The fact that a model of this caliber is available to everyone for free is a game changer. It'll be fascinating to see how the community uses and builds upon R1, and how DeepSeek's approach and future releases will shape the future of AI and the race to AGI. How do you think this will impact the race toward AGI? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Want to unlock the power of AI? Our free newsletter gives you the tips, trends, AI news, and tools you need to succeed. Sign up with a link in the description below. Your journey doesn't stop here. Watch our next video right here and keep building your knowledge.